The Galactic Federation Council met on the ancient world of Velorix Prime. The Great Chamber held over 3,000 species. Some floated in liquid pods. Others stood on legs made of crystal or metal. A few existed only as clouds of thinking gas. They had gathered here for one reason. They needed to vote on Resolution 948. High Counselor Threnvac stood at the center platform. His 4 arms moved in slow patterns as he spoke. His blue skin reflected the lights from 100 different suns that powered the chamber. "We are here to discuss the human problem," he said. His voice carried to every corner through the translator system. "For the past decade, our forces have tried to contain them. We have failed. Today, we must decide what to do next." The chamber filled with noise, clicks and whistles and sounds that no human ear could hear. The representatives were angry. They were scared. They were confused. Most of all, they could not understand how things had gone so wrong. 10 years ago, humanity had been nothing, a small species on a small planet at the edge of explored space. They had just discovered faster-than-light travel. They were decades behind the Federation's slowest ships. Their weapons were primitive. Their population was tiny compared to the great empires. The Vraxian Empire had attacked first. They wanted Earth's resources. They expected an easy victory. 100 Vraxian warships entered the Sol system. Only 3 escaped. Ambassador Crixnolo of the Vraxian Empire stepped forward. His reptilian face showed pain even now. "My people underestimated the humans. We thought their weapons were weak because they were simple. We were wrong. They used nuclear weapons against our shields. They crashed their own ships into ours. They fought like creatures with nothing to lose." "And now?" asked High Counselor Threnvac. "Now the humans control 6 of our outer systems. Our Emperor has agreed to pay tribute to avoid further war." More noise filled the chamber. The Vraxian Empire had existed for 40,000 years. They had never paid tribute to anyone, and now they bent their heads to creatures who had discovered space travel within living memory. General Massif of the Combined Fleet rose next. The insectoid commander had led the Federation's military response. His compound eyes still held the horror of what he had seen. 3 years ago, the Council ordered me to bring the humans into compliance. We sent 500 ships. It was meant to be a show of force. We never expected actual combat. He paused. His mandibles clicked together slowly. The humans had only 50 ships, but they had learned. They had studied our technology. They had improved it. Their shields were stronger than ours. Their weapons struck faster. And their tactics. He shook his head in the human gesture he had learned. "No species fights like they do. They attack and retreat. They hide in asteroid fields. They send false signals. They never engage when we are strong. They always strike when we are weak. We lost 300 ships in 6 months. I was forced to withdraw." The Solari delegation stood as one. The tall, thin beings spoke through their leader, a female named Whisper of Dawn. "The Solari have traded with humans for 5 years. We chose peace instead of war. We have prospered. Perhaps the Council should consider why the humans fight." "They fight because they are primitive," shouted Ambassador Crixnolo. "They fight because they know nothing else." Whisper of Dawn turned her silver eyes toward him. "The Vraxian attacked their homeworld without warning. You destroyed 3 of their cities. You killed 8 million of their people. They fight because you gave them no choice." The chamber grew quiet. High Counselor Threnvac raised all 4 arms. "We are not here to assign blame for past actions. We are here to decide the future. The humans now control 47 systems. They have built a fleet of over 2,000 ships. Their population has spread to 100 worlds. Every year they grow stronger. Every year we grow weaker in comparison." He looked around the chamber at the gathered species. Resolution 948 proposes that the Federation officially ban all aggressive action against humanity. It proposes that we seek peaceful relations. Some call this surrender. Others call it wisdom. I call it survival. Admiral Vextorin of the Mindari Collective stepped forward. Her gray skin was covered in battle scars. She had fought the humans twice and lost both times. I opposed this resolution when it was first proposed. I believed we could defeat the humans with better strategy and more ships. I was wrong. She pulled up a holographic display. It showed a map of the galaxy. Red areas marked human territory. Yellow areas showed disputed zones. The red had grown every year since first contact. In the past year, the humans have invented 3 new weapon systems. They have doubled their ship production. They have created new alloys that make our plasma weapons less effective. They do not just fight. They learn. They adapt. They overcome. She turned off the display. I have fought wars for 300 years. I have never seen a species like this. If we continue to fight them, we will lose. Not in a decade, not in a century, perhaps in 1,000 years, but we will lose. The chamber erupted in argument. Some species demanded continued war. Others called for immediate peace. A few suggested genocide, which drew angry responses from the more peaceful members. Through it all, High Counselor Threnvac watched. He had seen this coming for years. He had tried to warn the council. They had not listened. Now they had no choice but to accept what he had known all along. Humanity could not be stopped. He remembered reading the first reports about humans. They were mammals from a death world. Their planet had ice ages and supervolcanoes and asteroid impacts. It had predators and poisons and diseases that would kill most Federation species in days. And yet humans had survived. They had dominated their world. They had built civilizations and destroyed them and built new ones. They had created art and music and literature while still finding time to wage countless wars against each other. The reports had described humans as resilient. That word did not begin to cover it. He called for order. The chamber slowly grew quiet again. Before we vote, I would like to call one more witness. Ambassador Sarah Chen of the Human Confederacy has requested to speak. The reaction was immediate. Half the chamber protested. The other half fell silent in fear. No human had ever stood before the full council. She comes in peace, said the High Counselor. She has diplomatic immunity, and she may have something important to tell us. The doors at the far end of the chamber opened. Ambassador Chen walked in alone. She was small by human standards, dark hair, dark eyes. She wore a simple gray suit that carried no weapons. Every eye in the chamber followed her as she approached the center platform. Ambassador Sarah Chen stood before 3,000 species. She felt their fear and hatred. She also felt their curiosity. That curiosity was why humanity still had a chance. "Thank you for allowing me to speak," she said. Her voice was calm and clear. "I know many of you want my species destroyed. I understand why. We have done terrible things in this war, so have you." She looked at Ambassador Crixnolo. "The Vraxians killed 8 million of my people in their first attack. Men, women, and children. They died in fire and radiation. We did not know you existed before that day. We learned about the galaxy through the screams of our dying." The Vraxian ambassador looked away. "But we did not come to space seeking enemies. We came seeking wonder. We looked at the stars and dreamed of meeting other minds. We hoped to learn from you. We hoped to share what we knew. Instead, we learned that the universe wanted us dead." She paused to let her words sink in. "So we fought. We fought because we had no choice. We fought because our children deserved to live. We fought because surrender meant extinction. And we won. Not because we are stronger than you. Not because we are smarter than you. We won because we could not afford to lose." Whisper of Dawn nodded slowly. The Solari understood this truth. "I am here today to offer peace," said Ambassador Chen. "Real peace. Not the peace of submission, not the peace of fear. The peace of equals working together." General Massif made a clicking sound that translated as bitter laughter. Equals. You have defeated every fleet sent against you. You hold our people as prisoners. You demand tribute from ancient empires. What equality is this? The Vraxian prisoners were released 2 months ago, said Ambassador Chen. The tribute agreements will end when the resolution passes. We do not want to rule the galaxy. We want to live in it. And if we continue to fight? Asked High Counselor Threnvac. Ambassador Chen met his eyes. Then we will continue to win, but victory brings no joy to us. Every battle costs lives on both sides. Every war takes resources that could build instead of destroy. We are tired of fighting, but we will never stop, not until we are safe. She pulled out a small device and activated a hologram. It showed Earth as it had been before the Vraxian attack. Blue oceans, green lands, cities glowing at night. This was our home. This is what we lost. The image changed. Now it showed the same planet with 3 massive craters where cities had been. The atmosphere was darker. The oceans had changed color. This is what the war gave us. We have rebuilt. We have spread to new worlds, but we carry these scars forever. We want no more scars, not for us, not for you. She turned off the hologram. Vote for Resolution 948. Not because you fear us, not because you cannot defeat us. Vote for it because peace is better than war. Vote for it because your children and ours deserve a future without blood. She stepped back from the platform. I will wait outside for your decision. Ambassador Chen walked out of the chamber. Behind her, thousands of voices began to debate. High Counselor Threnvac let the discussion continue for 3 hours. Species that had been enemies for centuries found themselves agreeing. Species that had always been allies argued bitterly. The Mendari Collective spoke of their losses: 200 ships, 50,000 soldiers, all gone in battles they could not win. The hive consciousness of Sector 7 described the human infiltration of their network. Humans had hacked into their collective mind and planted false orders. The confusion had lasted only minutes, but in those minutes, 3 hive ships had destroyed each other. The crystalline entities showed recordings of human soldiers fighting in environments that should have killed them. Vacuum, radiation, temperatures that would melt most metals. The humans had survived through suits and technology and pure will. They should not exist, said the entity called Facet of Light. Their biology is fragile, their lives are short, their technology was primitive, yet they fight as if they cannot die. They sacrifice themselves as if death is nothing. We do not understand them. Admiral Vextorin stood again. I have studied humans for 5 years. I have read their history. I have watched their entertainment. I have spoken with their prisoners. I think I understand them now. The chamber grew quiet. Humans are not brave because they do not fear death. They are brave because they fear death greatly. They know exactly what they lose when they fall, and yet they charge forward anyway. They protect their families. They protect their friends. They protect complete strangers. They do this because love matters more to them than life. She looked around the chamber. Most of us fight for territory, for resources, for power. These are practical goals. If the cost becomes too high, we stop. But humans fight for ideas, for freedom, for each other. There is no cost too high. There is no sacrifice too great. They will burn down the galaxy before they submit. Ambassador Crixnolo hissed in anger. Then we should destroy them completely, before they grow too strong. We tried that, said Admiral Vextorin. You tried that, it did not work. They are already too strong, and they grow stronger every day. High Counselor Threnvac raised his arms for silence. The hour grows late. We must vote. All in favor of Resolution 948, banning aggression against humanity and seeking peaceful relations, indicate now. Lights appeared across the chamber, blue for yes, red for no. The counting took several minutes. The vote is complete. announced the High Counselor. 2,047 in favor, 953 opposed. Resolution 948 passes. The chamber erupted. Some species celebrated, others shouted in protest. A few simply left in silence. High Counselor Threnvac walked to the chamber doors. Ambassador Chen stood outside, looking at the stars through a massive window. The resolution passed, he told her. She nodded but did not smile. I knew it would, you had no other choice. Was any of what you said true, he asked, about wanting peace, about being tired of fighting? Ambassador Chen finally turned to look at him. Every word. Humans are complicated, Counselor. We can fight forever and still hate every moment of it. We can win every battle and still wish for peace. We are not monsters. We are just survivors. And if the peace fails, if someone attacks you again. Her dark eyes grew cold for just a moment. Then we will remind the galaxy why this resolution was necessary, but I hope it never comes to that. I truly do. She extended her hand in the human gesture of friendship. After a moment, High Counselor Threnvac took it. Welcome to the galactic community, Ambassador Chen. Thank you, Counselor. I hope we can prove worthy of it. Behind them, through the window, human ships hung in orbit around Velorix Prime. They had come to ensure the ambassador's safety. Now they would stay as the first embassy fleet of a new era. The war was over, the future had begun. 5 years after Resolution 948, the galaxy had changed in ways no one expected. Ambassador Sarah Chen now served as the Human Confederacy's permanent representative to the Federation Council. She had an office on Velorix Prime and a staff of 50 diplomats from 12 different species. Today she was meeting with Director Senkar of the Galactic Science Collective. The meeting had been requested urgently 3 days ago. Director Senkar had refused to explain why until they spoke in person. The director was a Veloci, a species of tall beings with skin like polished marble. Their minds worked faster than most others, and they had dominated scientific research for millennia. They rarely asked for help from anyone. Thank you for seeing me, Ambassador, said Director Senkar. His voice echoed strangely in the small meeting room. I have a problem that requires human assistance. I'm happy to help if I can, said Ambassador Chen. What kind of problem? The director placed a data crystal on the table. A hologram appeared, showing a massive structure in deep space. It looked like a ring made of darkness, surrounded by dying stars. This is the Void Gate. It was built by the precursors over 600 million years ago. We do not know what it does. Every species that has tried to study it has died. Ambassador Chen looked at the hologram with interest. The precursors left many structures behind. Why is this one special? Because it has started activating. 2 weeks ago, energy readings began increasing. If our calculations are correct, it will fully activate within 1 year. We do not know what will happen then. It might destroy this sector of the galaxy. It might open a portal to somewhere else. It might do something we cannot imagine. And you want humans to investigate it? Yes. The director showed no embarrassment. Your species has shown remarkable ability to survive dangerous situations. Your scientists think in ways that other species find strange. You solve problems that we cannot solve. If anyone can understand the Void Gate, it is humanity. Ambassador Chen thought about the request. 5 years ago, the Federation had tried to destroy humanity. Now they wanted human help with their greatest mystery. I will need to consult with my government, she said, but I believe we will agree to help. What resources can you offer? Full access to all precursor research, a fleet of support vessels, the best scientists from every Federation species, whatever you need. Then we have a deal, Director. 3 months later, a joint expedition reached the Void Gate. The human research vessel Discovery led a fleet of 50 ships from 20 different species. Dr. Marcus Webb commanded the science team. He was 60 years old, with gray hair and sharp eyes that missed nothing. "The readings are extraordinary," he said, looking at his instruments. "The energy patterns are unlike anything in our records. It is not just advanced technology. It is technology based on physics we do not understand." His Veloci colleague, scientist first rank Caliph Noor, agreed. "The precursors understood the universe in ways we cannot match. Perhaps they understood things that are not meant to be understood." "Everything is meant to be understood," said Dr. Webb. "That is what science is for. Send out the probe drones." The drones moved toward the void gate. Within seconds, they stopped transmitting. Their signals simply vanished as if they had never existed. "Same as before," said Caliph Noor. "Nothing survives close contact with the gate." Dr. Webb studied the data. The drones did not explode. They did not break apart. They were erased. Something removed them from existence. "Then how can we study the gate safely?" "We cannot study it safely, but we might be able to study it anyway." Dr. Webb pulled up schematics on his console. He had been working on a theory for weeks. Now he would test it. "The gate erases things that approach it. But what if we do not approach it? What if we bring it to us?" Caliph Noor's marble face showed confusion. "I do not understand." "The gate emits energy. That energy travels outward. If we can capture and analyze that energy from a distance, we might understand how the gate works without getting close enough to be erased. That would require sensors more powerful than any we possess. Then we will build them." The next 6 months were the most productive in galactic scientific history. Humans, Veloci, Solari, and a dozen other species worked together to create new instruments. They combined technologies that had never been used together before. They solved problems that had stumped researchers for centuries. Admiral Vextorin visited the expedition as an observer. She had retired from the military after the peace but remained interested in human activities. What she saw surprised her. "They work together as if they were one species," she said to Director Senkar, who had also come to observe. "Humans, Veloci, Mendari, all of them. There is no conflict, no competition, just shared purpose." "The humans have a saying," replied the director. "They call it teamwork. It is one of their greatest strengths. We tried to destroy them because of their strength in war. Perhaps we should have tried to learn from their strength in cooperation." "Perhaps, but we have the chance now. That is what matters." After 8 months of work, the new sensors were ready. Dr. Webb activated them personally. Data began flowing in at rates that overwhelmed the computers. The scientists worked through the night, analyzing and interpreting what they found. By morning, Dr. Webb had an answer. It was not the answer anyone expected. "The Void Gate is not a weapon," he announced to the gathered scientists. "It is not a portal, it is a shield." "A shield against what?" asked Caliph Noor. Dr. Webb showed them the data. It took hours to explain, but the conclusion was clear. 600 million years ago, the precursors detected something coming from beyond the galaxy, something dangerous. They built the Void Gate to stop it. The gate has been holding that something back ever since, and now it is failing. The chamber fell silent. Every scientist understood what this meant. "When the gate fails," said Dr. Webb, "whatever it is holding back will enter our galaxy. We have less than 4 months to find a way to repair it or to prepare for whatever is coming." Caliph Noor's marble face had gone pale. "We cannot repair precursor technology. No species can. It is beyond our understanding." Dr. Webb smiled grimly. "Then we will have to understand it. We have 4 months. Let us get to work." The news of the Void Gate crisis spread across the galaxy within days. Fear spread with it. Ancient empires prepared for war against an unknown enemy. Younger species looked to their elders for guidance and found none. High Counselor Threnvac called an emergency session of the Federation Council. For the first time in history, a human sat at the center platform. Ambassador Chen had been asked to lead the discussion because humans had discovered the truth about the gate. "We have three options," she said to the assembled species. "First, we can try to repair the void gate. Dr. Webb believes this is possible, but it will require every resource we have and may still fail." She paused to let the translators finish. "Second, we can prepare for whatever is coming through, build weapons, build defenses, unite our fleets. If we cannot stop the threat, perhaps we can fight it." "And the third option?" asked High Counselor Threnvac. "We evacuate. The Void Gate protects this part of the galaxy. If it fails, perhaps we can escape to regions beyond its reach. It would mean abandoning thousands of worlds, but some of us might survive." The chamber erupted in argument. Some species demanded immediate evacuation. Others refused to leave their homeworlds. A few insisted that the crisis was a human lie designed to increase their power. Ambassador Crixnolo of the Vraxian Empire rose to speak. He had changed in the years since the peace. The anger was still there, but it had been joined by something like respect. 10 years ago, I called for the destruction of humanity. I believed they were dangerous animals who would destroy the galaxy. I was wrong." He turned to look at Ambassador Chen. "The humans have shown us things we did not know we could learn. They have helped us grow stronger instead of demanding we grow weaker. When they discovered the truth about the Void Gate, they shared it immediately. They could have used this knowledge for power. Instead, they chose to save us all." He looked around the chamber. "The Vraxian Empire will support the humans in whatever plan they propose. We owe them that much and more." More species added their support. Within hours, the Council had agreed to a unified plan. All three options would be pursued at once. Scientists would work on repairing the gate, military forces would prepare for battle, and emergency evacuation routes would be planned for the worst case. Dr. Webb led the repair effort. He worked 20-hour days, sleeping only when his body refused to continue. His team included scientists from every major species in the Federation. They argued constantly. They challenged every assumption, and slowly they began to understand. "The Void Gate uses a type of energy we have never seen before," he reported after 2 months of work. "It creates a barrier in space itself. Nothing can pass through it. The problem is that the barrier is weakening because the power source is running out." "Can we provide new power?" asked Director Senkar. "Not with any technology we possess. The gate requires more energy than all the stars in the Federation combined. The precursors found that energy somewhere. We need to find it too." A young human scientist named Dr. Lisa Park stepped forward. She had joined the team only 3 weeks ago, but she had already earned respect for her creative thinking. "What if we are thinking about this wrong?" she said. "The precursors built the gate 600 million years ago. They must have known it would eventually run out of power. Maybe they left a way to recharge it." "We have searched the gate thoroughly," said Calith Nor. "There is no recharging mechanism." "Not on the gate, but what about somewhere else? The precursors left structures all over the galaxy. What if one of those structures is designed to power the gate?" The scientists looked at each other. It was such an obvious idea that none of them had considered it. "We have records of over 10,000 precursor structures," said Director Senkar. "Searching all of them would take years." "Then we need to search smarter," said Dr. Webb. "Look for structures that emit the same type of energy as the gate. There might be a connection." The search took 2 weeks. Of the 10,000 structures, only 3 emitted matching energy signatures. One was too damaged to function. One had been destroyed by a stellar explosion millions of years ago, but the third was intact. It was located in a system that the Federation had declared forbidden long ago. No one knew why. The records simply said that entering the system meant death. "The Nexus system," said Admiral Vextorin, who had rejoined the military to help coordinate the defense efforts. "My grandmother told me stories about it when I was young. Ships enter and never return. No one knows what happens to them." "Then we will be the first to find out," said Dr. Webb. "I am taking the discovery in." "You will die." "Perhaps, but if I do not try, everyone in the galaxy dies when the Void Gate fails. I would rather take the risk." The Discovery entered the Nexus system on a cold morning by Galactic Standard Time. The crew of 200 humans and 50 aliens knew they might not return. They came anyway. At first, nothing happened. The system seemed empty, just dead planets orbiting a dying star. But as they approached the fourth planet, their sensors detected something. "It is another precursor structure," reported Dr. Park. "Much larger than the Void Gate. It is generating the same energy signature but inverted, like a mirror image." "A power source," said Dr. Webb. "The recharge station we were looking for." "But how do we activate it? We do not know how precursor technology works." Dr. Webb studied the readings. The structure was ancient beyond imagination. It had been waiting here for hundreds of millions of years, waiting for someone to find it. "Maybe we do not need to understand it," he said slowly. "Maybe we just need to ask." He began transmitting signals toward the structure, mathematical sequences, scientific constants, images of the Void Gate and its failing power, messages that any intelligent being would understand. For hours nothing happened. The crew began to lose hope. But then, as the ship passed closest to the structure, something changed. Lights appeared on the ancient surface. Energy began flowing. A beam of power shot outward, crossing the galaxy at speeds that should have been impossible. It reached the Void Gate in seconds. Reports came flooding in from across the Federation. The Void Gate was stabilizing. Its power readings were increasing. The barrier was strengthening. Dr. Webb allowed himself a smile. "The precursors did leave us a way to save ourselves. We just had to be smart enough to find it." But even as he celebrated, the ship's sensors detected something else. Something moving beyond the Void Gate. Something that had noticed the increased power and was reacting. "Dr. Webb," said Dr. Park, her voice tense. "I am reading movement on the other side of the barrier. Something is testing it, something very large." "How large?" She checked her instruments twice before answering. "Planetary. Whatever is out there is the size of a small planet, and it is not happy that we fixed the gate." The creature beyond the Void Gate was called the Devourer by the scientists who studied it. For 3 years it pushed against the barrier. For 3 years the barrier held, but everyone knew that eventually even precursor technology would fail. The Federation used that time wisely. Ships were built. Weapons were developed. For the first time in galactic history, every species worked toward a common goal. Humans led the effort because they understood something the other species had forgotten. War was not just about technology, it was about will. General Marcus Chen, son of Ambassador Sarah Chen, commanded the combined fleet. He was young for such responsibility, only 35 years old, but age meant little when the universe itself was at stake. "The Void Gate will fail within the hour," reported Admiral Vextorin, who served as his second in command. "The Devourer has been growing stronger. Our scientists believe it feeds on the energy of the barrier itself." General Chen stood on the bridge of the Humanity's Hope, the largest warship ever built. Around him, a fleet of 10,000 vessels from every species in the Federation waited for battle. "Show me the Devourer again," he said. The holographic display activated. The creature was unlike anything in the Federation's records. It had no fixed shape. It was darkness made solid, constantly shifting and changing. Eyes appeared and disappeared across its surface. Mouths opened and closed. It was chaos given form. The precursors built the Void Gate to stop that, said Admiral Vextorin. They were the most advanced civilization ever to exist. If they could only contain it, what hope do we have of destroying it? The precursors were defensive, said General Chen. They built walls, they built barriers, they tried to keep the darkness out. We are not the precursors. What are we? General Chen smiled. It was not a happy smile. It was the smile of a man who had accepted what he must do. We are hunters. The darkness has been threatening the galaxy for 600 million years. Today, we fight back. The Void Gate failed at exactly 14:37 Galactic Standard Time. The Devourer poured through the opening like water through a broken dam. Its darkness spread across space, swallowing stars and planets in its path. The combined fleet opened fire. 10,000 ships launched missiles and beams and weapons that had been designed specifically for this moment. The attack struck the Devourer's surface. For a moment, nothing happened. Then, slowly, the darkness began to burn. "The weapons are working," shouted a tactical officer. "We are hurting it." But the Devourer was not helpless. Tendrils of darkness shot outward, wrapping around ships and crushing them like toys. Beams of negative energy destroyed entire squadrons. The creature was wounded, but it was also angry. "All ships, engage Pattern Alpha 7, ordered General Chen. "Do not let it focus on any single target." The fleet scattered and reformed, attacking from every direction at once. Human ships led the charge, their crews willing to die if it meant buying time for others to strike. Behind them, Vraxian destroyers unleashed nuclear fire. Mendari cruisers cut through the darkness with plasma lances. Solari vessels used their advanced sensors to find weak points in the creature's defenses. For 6 hours the battle raged. Ships died by the hundreds, but so did parts of the Devourer. Each attack left wounds that did not heal. Each sacrifice weakened the ancient horror. "It is retreating," reported Dr. Park, who had remained with the fleet to monitor the creature. "The Devourer is trying to escape through the gate." "Do not let it," said General Chen. "All ships full pursuit, we end this now." The fleet chased the wounded creature through the broken Void Gate. On the other side they found a realm of endless darkness. No stars, no planets, just the void itself, stretching forever in all directions. The Devourer turned to face them. It was smaller now, weakened by the battle, but it was still vast, still terrible, still hungry. "General," said Admiral Vextorin quietly, "we have lost half our fleet. Our weapons are running low. If we fight here in this place, we may not win." "I know," General Chen stood straighter. "Open a channel, all frequencies." The communication systems activated. His voice reached every ship in the fleet, every species, every soldier. "This is General Chen. We have followed the enemy into its home. We are tired, we are wounded, we are afraid, but we are still here, still fighting, still standing together." He looked at the Devourer, the ancient enemy that had threatened all life for longer than any civilization had existed. 10 years ago, my people were attacked without warning. We fought back. We won, not because we were stronger or smarter. We won because we refused to give up. Today, I ask the same of all of you, not as humans or Vraxians or Mendari, as people, as beings who love life and want to protect it. He raised his hand and pointed at the creature. "That thing has haunted the galaxy for 600 million years. It has devoured civilizations. It has destroyed hope. But today, we show it something it has never seen before. Today, we show it what happens when the galaxy fights as one." The fleet surged forward. 5,000 ships against a god of darkness. It should have been impossible. It should have been suicide. It was victory. The battle lasted 3 more hours. Ships were destroyed. Lives were lost. But the Devourer was weakened beyond recovery. Its darkness faded. Its power drained. In the end, it simply stopped existing, destroyed not by any single weapon but by the combined will of every species in the galaxy. General Chen stood on his battered bridge as the darkness cleared. Where the devourer had been, there was now only empty space. "It is done," said Admiral Vextorin. "After 600 million years, it is finally done." 1 year later, the Federation Council met again on Velorix Prime. The chamber was fuller than ever before. New species had joined after witnessing the battle against the devourer. Others had returned after centuries of isolation. High Counselor Threnvac stood at the center platform. He was older now, his blue skin faded by time, but his voice was still strong. 15 years ago, we passed Resolution 948 banning aggression against humanity. We did it out of fear. We did it because we had no choice. Today, I ask the Council to pass a new resolution. He activated a hologram that showed the galaxy, no longer divided by species or territory. Resolution 1023 recognizes humanity as full and equal members of the Galactic Federation, not because we fear them, not because they defeated us in war, because they showed us how to be better. They taught us to fight together. They led us against the devourer. They earned their place among us. Ambassador Sarah Chen stood to speak. She was older too, with gray in her hair and lines on her face, but her eyes still held the same fire they had held 15 years ago. "When my people first reached the stars, we hoped to find friends. Instead, we found war. We fought because we had to. We won because we refused to lose, but victory was never our goal." She looked around the chamber at species that had once tried to destroy her kind. "Our goal was always this: to stand among you as equals, to build a future together, to explore the universe side by side. Today, that dream becomes real." The vote was unanimous. Every species supported Resolution 1023. There was no opposition. There was no debate. The galaxy had learned what humanity truly offered. Not war, not conquest, not domination. Hope. That night, Ambassador Chen stood on the balcony of the human embassy. Her son stood beside her, still wearing his general's uniform. Together, they looked up at the stars. "Your grandfather would have loved to see this," she said. "He always believed we would find our place among the stars." "He died in the first Vraxian attack," said General Chen. "He never saw any of this. But he believed. That is what matters. Belief is what keeps us going when everything seems lost. Belief is what makes us human." She put her hand on her son's shoulder. "We came to the galaxy as strangers. We were attacked. We fought back. We won, but winning was never enough. We needed to build something better, something lasting. Today, we finally have." General Chen smiled. It was a real smile this time, not the grim smile of battle. "So what do we do now?" His mother laughed softly. "Now we explore, we build, we dream. We do what humans have always done. We reach for the impossible and make it real." Above them, the stars shone with the light of 1,000 civilizations. Below them, the galaxy waited for a new chapter to begin. And humanity, the small species from a small planet at the edge of explored space, was finally ready to write it. The Federation Council had banned aggression against humanity after their defeat, but humanity had never wanted war. They had wanted this: a chance to be part of something greater, a chance to show the universe what they could do when given the opportunity. They had proven themselves in battle. Now they would prove themselves in peace. And the galaxy would never be the same.